Welcome back, all you Fabricants and Fleshbags, to the super not funny show reviews. And today I'll be reviewing Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, the sequel to Doctor Strange, coming to you from Disney Marvel Studios, and it's out in theaters right now. So, was it good? Was it bad? And should you be watching? Marvel Phase 4 moves right along with the release of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the follow up to, can you believe it, 2016's Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange, he's been in the forefront of a bunch of things in the MCU in the last 4 years. Infinity War, Endgame, of course, Spider-Man No Way Home, the nearly $2 billion film. So this film is a direct, I say a sort of sequel and a trilogy that's been going on between starting with WandaVision, leading into No Way Home, and then finally this one. So this one finds Doctor Strange not too long after helping Spider-Man erase his identity and deal with the multiverse there. Just kind of trying to move on with his life, I guess, as the Sorcerer Supreme in the aftermath of the blip and everything like that. And unfortunately not getting what he wants in that Rachel Palmer has kind of moved on without him. And just not being Sorcerer Supreme anymore, all that good stuff. And into his lap almost literally falls America Chavez, a dimension-hopping young person, young woman, who is on the run from nefarious, beings that are trying to get her for her powers. And it's up to him to use all of the magic and might of a sorcerer to keep her safe and also to deal with whatever this dire threat is to her. The twist, of course, is that it's a multiverse, so this is not the first time that America has met Doctor Strange. And she's not quite sure if she can trust him, but she knows that whatever's trying to get her is bad. And everything I just said, it's everything that you could see in the trailers. We know that Wanda Maximoff makes an appearance. We also have had several other things, revealed as such as an alternate universe, Mordo, what's Professor X, the X-Men Professor X, Captain Carter. These are all. So when I mention all these things, so there's cameos are a big deal in this particular movie. So when I mention these are things you can see in a trailer. So they're not really a spoiler unless you just don't watch trailers. But just there's more to those cameos than that. I'll talk about them a little later in the spoiler section. So what you get here from Sam Raimi, who came in to direct this first comic book movie he's done in many years. In fact, I believe since Spider-Man 3, so it's been quite a while. But you know what? Sam Raimi hasn't lost a step. He still really knows how to frame a good action sequence. He knows how to set up a good character arc. He knows how to juggle multiple characters. There's a lot of that going on here. Even though this is ostensibly a Doctor Strange story, really you could almost say that he's the close second is Wanda. Wanda, the AKA now that she's a Scarlet Witch, and then America Chavez. She's obviously central to this, but the side characters. We get some really cool ones like Christine Palmer and Wong, and he gets to shine too. But this is, if I'd have to say, this movie is basically a big old chase. It's running from a dire threat, and the dire threat that's overwhelming and powerful and needs to be escaped. And it really kind of shows Doctor Strange kind of on the back foot, sort of desperate, but also having to prove himself, I suppose, to this young lady who desperately needs his help to survive what's coming for her. And I really loved that aspect of it. Usually he knows what's going on, but he doesn't always in this know what's going on. I also love the fact that, in trying to prove himself to America, he's sort of coming to grips with maybe some of his inadequacies or insecurities. And I did like that that America slowly has to learn to trust him because if she doesn't, she's dead. There's early on there's an understanding of who and what the villain is and why they're doing what they're doing, and uh, what's the consequences of what they're doing, and how big of a threat they are. That's just so direct that I was surprised that they didn't beat around the bush more with it, and it was refreshing because you could spend the rest of the movie just really running the hell away from this horrible threat. This horrible threat that's so bad that it threatens or even puts in danger the lives of many powerful sorcerers, but also puts in jeopardy the lives of some people in alternate universes because there is dimension hopping going on in here, which there's a lot of fun in all of that running away, trying to get away to new to a safer place, and to sort of see the way magic is used, and magic is used I think better in this movie than we've seen in the MCU at all, including in WandaVision. That magic is not so much shooting lasers at each other as actually doing spells and using magic in creative ways that don't just require shooting magic bolts at a la Harry Potter, and it was very super well done. And it's, on that note, visually this movie's really awesome actually. There's Sam Raimi's he likes to play around with camera angles and how he moves the camera around, action, all that. Very well done. Great color. The CGI, it's a little wonky in places, but you expect that in CGI heavy movies. But generally speaking, I thought it was really good, especially when it came to the character action moments, because there's a lot of flames and fast movement and people bouncing off of stuff. Even sometimes, like I said, magic shooting at them. All that stuff looks really good. The Ultron bots, they looked awesome. It was really cool. There's some parts that some pretty graphic stuff that goes on later on. It's very well done. This movie has a decided horror bent. It's Sam Raimi's has been a horror director. There's a lot of horror elements in this. A lot of things that you may have seen in like Evil Dead or zombie movies or whatever like that. Very interesting. There's a part later on at the end you see Zombie Strange, and that's all very cool and very interesting. There's parts where you see a chase going on that reminds you very much of a relentless monster that won't let doors or walls stand in their way. It's very very cool. Very it would be scary if I wasn't used to that sort of thing. So just overall, I think it's a pretty well done movie. The only problem I had with it is that I didn't totally connect with the movie. Not I don't want to say didn't totally connect with it. It didn't have me on the edge of my seat like I normally would be in movies like this, and I don't want to say it's just the directing or whatever that was, because a lot of cool things were happening on the screen, and there was a lot of scenes that I consider some of the best scenes in the MCU. But I think this more has to do with me not connecting so much with the character of Doctor Strange as much, at least for most of this movie. I understood what he was doing, but I didn't necessarily connect closely with it. And also just maybe the villain was a little jarring, and seeing how far the villain was willing to go, and that was just like maybe felt a little out of step. But just on reflection, I get it, but it just in the first viewing, maybe it's just let down from having known so much about the movie going in, because a lot of stuff in here would have been a big pop if I didn't know about it. But overall, I did like the movie. I think it's a good watch. In fact, I think that if you don't like horror that much, maybe you won't care too much for this one. But I think overall, a really good movie. It's got a lot to offer and hints at some great things in the future, and it has a really good resolution. And just overall, I think a well crafted piece of cinema and a great entry into the MCU. But I'm going to talk a little bit of spoilers right now, just a little bit. Um, I so if you don't want spoilers, you can go on. But right now, we got to talk about the fact that Wanda is the villain. She's straight up the villain in this thing. It wasn't even like, beating around the bush, pretending. No, early on, like within the first 15 minutes, no, I'm the bad guy. I'm trying to get this girl, and I'm doing it because I want to see my boys. Because we find out that not just that the multiverse is real, but that dreams in the MCU are dreams of other multiversal selves that are real. So, Wanda's been tortured by dreams of her sons that are real in another universe, and has been looking for ways to get to one. And the only way she knows how is to one of her selves in another universe has encountered America, who can travel between the universes. And that's literally her whole thing. Everything that happens that goes forward from there is her. Um, so, even when she, encounters them and destroys Comertage, and then, basically brute force magics her way through some pretty serious sorcerer stuff like that Wong and Strange are able to do, and they realize she's super powerful because not only is she the Scarlet Witch, which who they are aware of, she's the Scarlet Witch, but also she has the Darkhold, which also kind of ups her game. So she really is a formidable threat, one that they can't actually out magic or brute force magic, and so they have to run. And Strange, eventually, thanks to America's, her inability to kind of control her dimension hopping, they make it to another dimension that's more like the comic books, and wherein you see an Illuminati that has, Professor X, Black Bolt, played by Anson Mount, which is awesome. That's one of the great cameos we didn't know about, and also Mr. Fantastic, played by John Krasinski, another great cameo we weren't aware of. Then Captain Carter, that's Haley Atwell, Lashana Lynch as Captain Marvel, where Maria Rambeau becomes Captain Marvel instead of Carol Danvers, and then Baron Mordo, and so of course, like I said, Professor X played by Patrick Stewart. That was a big cool pop moment. Really enjoyed it. And it was even more of a shock when they were just all brutally murdered by Wanda, just to really reinforce how much of a badass she was, and to put it all into perspective, and to give the ending a real pop because of how powerful she was. I really liked all of that. Most everything, seeing an alternate universe, Christine, and the and finding out what happened to the alternate universe, Strange. And that there and we knew that Strange in our universe could only see 14 million possibilities, and the only one that worked was the one he chose. But with the opening of the multiverse, thanks to Loki, now there are other universes where, in fact, there were other possibilities, and we saw one that actually worked. That was all very interesting. I doubt we'll ever see it again, especially with the death of that Illuminati. But very cool stuff. And at the end, seeing Wanda destroy the Darkhold and destroy herself, but we know she'll be back because multiverse, and because we got to see mutants at some point and so forth. So, lots of places they could go with this. But again, overall, like the movie. I recommend you see it, especially if you're an MCU person. So. Anyway, what do you guys think about the movie? What you guys think about what I had to say? Get down to the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Of course, you can always hit me up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. All right, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, thanks once again for joining me. Come back again for more reviews. Until then, I have been Mo de Poupée, resident fabricant and commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture. And I'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.